Okay, so we're solving inequalities. Our goal is to use opposite operations to solve inequalities like we would do if we were solving equations. Specifically here, we're solving one-step inequalities with addition or subtraction. Our problem is x plus 7 is less than or equal to 9. So if we use opposite operations here, since the opposite operation of adding 7 is subtracting 7, we would do that to both sides of the inequality. So subtracting 7 on the left cancels out the number next to the variable. That's why we did it, to get rid of the plus 7. But on the right, we're going to simplify this inequality by subtracting the 9 by 7, giving us x is less than or equal to 2. Very much the same as solving one-step equations, but we just have that inequality sign, less than or equal to in this case. This next type is a bit trickier. We're doing multiplication or division, and something kind of funky, kind of special happens because there's a negative number being multiplied by x. Notice that we have negative 3x less than 12. So if we think about the opposite operation, it would not be adding 3 to both sides. It would be dividing negative 3 on both sides, because negative 3 was next to the x, meaning it was multiplying, and we have to divide both sides by the 3 and its negative sign. What that does is cancel out, or better said, 1 out the number next to the variable. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 turns into 1, not 0. Important to know. So when we simplify this, we have 1x, or just x, on the left side, negative 4 on the right side, because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. But the sign itself would flip. This is a little strange, like I said, a little funky. But if multiplying or dividing by a negative number, the sign gets flipped. So this is what it would look like. I'll explain a little better on the next slide, but x is greater than negative 4. It went from being less than up top to now it's greater than once it's simplified at the bottom. Let's think about this though. Flipping the inequality sign. The concept is a bit tricky. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, the inequality sign gets flipped. But why, you might ask? Well, let's think about the example. 1 is less than 3. I think we can all agree to that. We're looking at the number line. Yes, 1 is less than 3. It's further to the left. It's closer to 0. It's a smaller number. But if we took the negatives, negative 1 and negative 3, we would have to flip the inequality sign for it to be true. So let's think about that. If we multiplied the inequality itself by negative 1 on both sides, or took the negatives, all of a sudden it wouldn't be less than. 1 would not be less than 3. Negative 1 would be greater than 3. That sign would have to be flipped for this to be true. And we can look at the number line to help us out with this. Little funky, little tricky. Hopefully you understand this concept. That will help you memorize the step a little bit better. But if this still doesn't make sense, go back and just get this step memorized somehow. You got to remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip that sign. Good luck.